Aloha everyone. So as you can see behind me, it's a gloomy day here on Maui, and unfortunately it came with some very sad news here on the island. As if we didn't already have enough controversy on Maui with the heated debate on phasing out short-term rentals, we woke up to news this morning that Tasha Kama, who is one of the 9 current Maui County Council members, passed away over the weekend at the age of 73.
Report this morning, the Maui community is mourning the loss of council member Tasha Kama. Her family confirms that she died last night, shortly before 9:30. Kama was first elected to the county council in 2018 and represented the Kahului area. She is the current presiding officer pro tempore and the chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. Plans for a memorial service will be announced at a later time. We'll keep you updated on that.
Now, at the end of this video, we'll discuss what happens next to the Maui County Council and how it relates to Bill 9 specifically. But first and foremost, I'd like to express my condolences to her family. She was a mother of 11 and a grandmother of more than 30 grandchildren. As a pastor, she brought her faith in God to the council and she advocated for the poor. She remained calm in the face of recent criticisms for her stances on issues and her handling of the often contentious Housing and Land Use Committee. Now, I didn't know Tasha Kama personally, but since I have been following the debate over short-term rentals here on Maui, I've had the opportunity to observe her conduct in the county council meetings, and it was easy to see that she lived a life of service to her family and to her community. With that being said, I'd like to share a video clip of her closing statement at a recent Housing and Land Use Committee just a few months ago, where she talked about how we need to pull together as a community and continue to love and respect each other right before they took a vote on Bill 9. Let's take a look.
And so, wow. So I think that this concludes our day, but I know I'm not done. I get 2 minutes. Don't start the clock yet. But yeah, so I get my 2 minutes, and I want to take that because this process for me has been very difficult, very hard, conflicting at times. Sometimes it just makes me wild and wicked. And when I go home, my family doesn't recognize who I am. And even sometimes when I'm here, you know, my kids have this thread all across the U.S., right? And they're always commenting on this thread. And they're talking about us. And my daughters in New York watch it. My daughters in Washington watch it. And they say, Ma. And they, do whatever you want to think about, that's what they do. But it's hard because I have 10 kids, right? And they all have their different opinions about Bill 9. Let me tell you. So I know what it's like to sit out there and I know what it's like to sit on here. Because when I'm with my kids, that's what it feels like. But in the end, this is what happens. You all got to do what you all know is the right thing to do. Because that's what moves you, right? That stuff that's deep down inside your na'au, that's what moves you. And sometimes you're good and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're right and sometimes you're not. But then that's all right because the next day you wake up and you breathe and you start all over again. And you try to make it through that day until the rest of your life. So as hard as this has been, and I'm already thinking about my kids and the phone calls I'm probably going to get about why I said and did what I did. But in the end, they will be in my situation too one day. I'm sure they will. And they'll have to make hard decisions just like you will. But I hope that no matter what decisions we make, that we don't stop caring for each other, we don't stop loving each other, and that we don't ever stop talking to each other about stuff that matters.
So those were wise words from someone who dedicated her life to serving the people of Maui. Her wish was that regardless of our opinions on controversial topics like Bill 9, she wanted us all to continue to care for each other, love each other, and continue to have civil conversations about all the things that really matter. And I hope that that is something that we can all agree on. But what does the loss of Councilmember Kama mean for the politics on Maui, and in particular, what does it mean for Bill 9? That as it's written right now, it aims to phase out almost half of the short-term rentals on Maui. Well, Councilmember Kama was one of 3 council members who voted against Bill 9 at the Housing and Land Use Committee. At that meeting, there were 6 council members who voted to advance the bill, and she was one of 3 members that voted no. However, there is speculation that 2 of the members that voted to advance the bill are still very much on the fence about whether Bill 9 is a good idea. So it was possible that the final vote on the bill would have been 4 in favor and 5 against. But with the loss of member Kama, it's now very possible that we have a split of 4 votes on each side until her seat is filled by a new council member. And that, of course, begs the question, what is the procedure for replacing a council member in a circumstance like this? Well, I truly wish that it was a scenario where the residents of Maui would be given the opportunity to vote for the replacement, which would give us a true indication of what the community really wants. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. According to a Maui Now news article, there will not be a special election to fill the 14 plus months of Kama's term as Kaului council member. And that's because under Section 3-4 of the Maui County chapter, titled Vacancy in Office for Council Members, if the unexpired term is less than 15 months, the remaining members on the council shall appoint a person by resolution adopted by the majority of its remaining members to fill the vacancy. However, if the council fails to fill the vacancy in 30 days, the mayor shall appoint a person to fill the vacancy. And I do think it's safe to assume that the mayor would likely choose someone who supports his Bill 9. Now, I'm not going to speculate on how this will eventually play out, but it is worth noting that according to a press release from Kama's council office, in her final request to the Maui County Council, she humbly asked that the current executive director of the Maui Metropolitan Planning Organization be considered to continue her work. Now, I don't know anything about this gentleman, but I really hope that the council decides to honor member Kama's final request, because I do trust her leadership, and I believe that she would be the best person to choose her replacement with someone that represents the best interest of the people that elected her into office. But that's just my opinion. I'm really curious to hear what you think on the topic, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for future updates, and share this video with anyone you know who cares about Maui's future. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope to see you on the next video. Aloha.